Okay, I've had some people ask me about making a settings video, so I figured this game's already deader than dead, so why not? What's one more settings video of Battlefield 1? So first thing, controls. I use 40 and 100 right now, and maybe some people think that's slow, but in this clip I'll put up, you could still flick on people, no problem, and you have the accuracy to go along with it. Um, Before this, usually I would just change my sensitivity all over the place, all the time. Sometimes it'd work out, sometimes it would not work out. Um, in my opinion, between 40 and 60 is where you want to be. Any higher than 60, and you're just gonna get the whole having to flick around. You're gonna overshoot people. You're gonna, if there's somebody fucking up there, you're just flicking by. Like you flick towards their area, but you just fucking went over them. A lot of people, they think they need to have a super fucking high sensitivity. So they think they're gonna turn on everybody. They're gonna 360 everybody, but more often than not, you're just going to lose gunfights because you just don't have the accuracy that you think you do. And I guess same going, there's people that play the game on just the regular 20, which, you can't even fucking turn around. If you need to turn around, it's going to happen. Plus, playing at a high sense like this, it's just you got to constantly be paying attention, focusing on it because you're just snapping around all over the place, and that'll just drain you. And this game's already a drain, so, why double it? Um, Under 40, obviously, now you're getting into the base settings range, right? 20. So now you're just walking through quicksand, trying to turn around and look at somebody. Then you're gonna undershoot, right? So let's say there's a guy like right there. You're right here. You're undershoot. You think you're gonna reach him, but you don't. Then you gotta keep going, just mess up your aim. So a sweet spot, in my opinion, I would say between 40 and 60. I'm not gonna this isn't like a whole, oh, I'm going to tell you what to do, right? You got to kind of find your own thing. But some recommendations are going to be, in this case, between 40 and 60. In my case, I use 40. Zoom sensitivity without uniform soldier aiming on, which I'll get to later. So that's kind of like Call of Duty settings, right? So when you're turning, this is 40 sensitivity. When you ADS, it slows down a little bit. And then when you aim back out, it goes back, and then it slows down. Um, I prefer it at 100%. That's basically, I know Call of Duty recently let people start changing it, it would be like 1.0. I believe it goes by, like, you can go to 0.9, 0.8, 1.1, 1.2. It's pretty much the same thing. Obviously, it's not going to translate exactly, but that's the general idea of it. The rest of these, I think they're just default. I turn vibration off. I don't use vibration, but that's personal preference. The controllers don't vibrate so much that you have to actually fight to hold on to it. Otherwise, it'll go flying out of your hand. So when people say um, it ruins your aim, I really don't think so. I used to play with vibration all the time. I just turned it off. It's just kind of my personal preference. Same thing. It's not, it's not going to mess your aim up. Control schemes, I just do custom. They won't, the only things I do is I aim with L1 and shoot with R1. I just flip them from the triggers. I never liked the trigger idea. I don't like shooting with triggers in a video game. I like to be quicker. So L1, R1 is what I've used my entire time playing video games on PlayStation. And then I crouch with R3 and I melee with circle. I really don't try to melee people. I don't care about it. I care about shooting them. And this crouching gives me more control when it's on R3 than if it was on circle. Melee's on circle. It's kind of there. I never really use it though. I just wanted to go over. I forgot to actually go into the custom controller mappings. So there's actually a few things you need to do. So you need to change. Basically, you need to flip everything that's tied to L1, L2, R1, and R2. If you decide to go this route and flip the controls. So you need to set spot comma rows to R2. Fire to R1, zoom to L1. Melee attack and bayonet charge to circle, because you don't want to have bayonet on the R3 when if you set that to crouch. It's going to fuck you up. Throw grenade L2, crouch R3, and I believe that's it. Can't help you with the pilot shit or the tanks. Or horse. I don't play that shit. Next, advanced. You have first we'll go with stick aiming acceleration. First off, I'll have to tell you this. I know there's personal preference, but turn that shit off. So what it does is it starts out with a lower sensitivity than whatever sensitivity you have for your aiming, your hipfire sense, and then it accelerates up to that. In this case, it's going to start out lower than 40, and it's going to accelerate up to 40, which you should be able to see here. You see how it snaps? It picks up about a second, and then it goes. So if you're trying to flick around to look, it starts out slow, right? It's like you're walking through quicksand, trying to look around. So if you turn it off, now it's just my sensitivity. There's no, you can look around. There's no delay, there's no acceleration buildup. It's really bad for muscle memory, so I would recommend to turn that off. Don't, keep it on because you're used to it. Turn it off, suck for a few games. Probably end up getting better than when you had it on because it's just going to hinder your performance. Next, the dead zones. I believe base is 22, and the axials are 15. So it's really clunky. You don't want that. You want to have response, not too much response. You want to have response.
A sentry kit is available near your location.
You don't want it to be all clunky looking around. It's just not going to be good for your aim, especially controlling recoil. I'm pretty good at it anyway, but you have to move the stick a lot more, so there's a lot more room for error if you do that. My personal preference would be for the center dead zones between 5% and 10%. If you have to go higher than 10%, or you have to stay at 22% to keep your controller from drifting, probably should get a new controller. And if you go lower than 5%, even a new controller, it's just going to be so... that was the... Just if you put your finger on the right analog stick and just kind of like move, there's a little bit of slack in them, just like a little bit, and you just move that around, it'll pick it up like it's doing right here. You don't want that, because just having your thumb on it can cause it to just stray off, and that little bit can be, if there's a guy there and you're running and he pops out and you were just, leaning on the stick a little bit, you were slowly going off of the angle you were looking at to run through a door. So in my case, 6% works good. PS5 controllers seem to last a little bit longer with the sticks before they start going than the PS4s, even though they're same. I believe they're the same gyros and all that. But next, axials. Okay, so axials basically they make it kind of like a square. Your aim box is a square. It's not like a nice circle. You see how it kind of looks like an oval? As I rotate the analog stick in a circular motion, it's making like an oval. It basically, you see how flat that stays? See how flat that plane is, that horizontal movement? So it puts in like a buffer. And so if you don't move the analog stick completely to the perfect right, if you're like a little off, up or down, which I'm moving up or down, it's not picking that up, okay? There's a buffer in there so that you can kind of look around and you're not like, doing one of these where you go to look left and you look down or you look up when there's a guy there. But that's also going to be a problem, because if you're trying to snap up and to the left or up and to the right or down and to the left, down and to the right, you're going to hit that buffer first. So again, the muscle memory is going to get all messed up, and you're going to undershoot or overshoot when you hit that buffer before you clear the buffer, and then it allows your aim to go. So what I recommend is to turn it off. So now it's more of a circle now. Obviously, you have to really keep it. You have to know where your right is and your left. But get used to it because it's pretty much like you have full control. You don't want anything hindering you or buffering you, anything like that, like aim acceleration, the axial dead zones. You don't want things causing you to have to go through them in order to control your aim. You want to be able to control it fully. So you just practice with it and you'll get better. Moving on, I don't touch these. Never did. I don't think you need to. Vehicles, same thing. I didn't touch them. I don't. I mean, I just turn these on, but I don't use vehicles. Uniform soldier aiming, I have it off. I don't like it on. It basically what it's designed to do is to pretty much make every zoom level feel the same between like this is a one-time zoom, right? So it doesn't zoom in at all. From this to a 10-time zoomed sniper rifle, it's supposed to make it feel like you move the stick a certain amount, it's going to go that way. It's not going to be like a different variation of it, a little bit faster, a little bit slower. Again, I just don't like it, especially because it's inconsistent between these two games, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. If you turn it on in Battlefield 5, it will make your ADS speed match your hipfire speed. So your hipfire, and then when you would ADS, it would be like putting it on 200%. That's what 200% will make your ADS speed match your hipfire. So some people play like that. I don't like it. It's way too, for long range, it's way too inaccurate, especially trying to control recoil. I mean, if you wanted to adjust this, I would say between 90 and 110. I wouldn't go any higher or lower. I prefer 100%, but that's me. That's it for here. Gameplay. Really don't touch these too much. You do want the kill log on. I think default is off, so turn it on. You want it on all. Some people set it for nearby, but I don't believe nearby is near enough. You're still missing out. A lot of people say, oh, I don't care, you know, who's dying over on the D flag, right? If you're over here worrying about B, but I like to get a sense of what's going on at all times, and I can see what they're killing people with. You want to know what they're killing people with, so you don't come out flying out of a corner and there's you hear a gun go off, you see a teammate die, and you look up to the top right and you see it was a sentry kit. You don't want to just push the sentry because you heard, oh, it sounds like a machine gun. Now, obviously, you know, it has a distinct sound, but just in general, you don't want to push somebody if they have a gun for that situation and you don't. Like, if you have a sniper rifle and some dude kills somebody over there with SMG-08, you don't want to push them unless you're like a level 10, in which case you'll just snap onto them with auto rotation and shoot them in the face. But if you're not a level 10 with auto rotation on and one hand and one eye, I wouldn't push them. But if you are, go ahead, you push anybody you want, you kill them all. Really haven't messed with these. A lot of people prefer to have colors for their crosshairs. I just don't care. I just can't be bothered to change it. Hit color, same thing. White, the basic, I don't care. Kill color, red. I want to know when I kill them, that's it. Critical hit, green for our vehicles, that's it. Something to pop out. Minimap, I upped it a little bit to make the minimap a little bit bigger, and then the on-foot zoom radius is at 200, so I can see what's going on over at C. I can see part of B. I can, once I get to here, I can see D, start to see D. You can, you know, you can zoom it out if you want. It's no problem. The problem is when you want to keep it at the basic and not touch it. I think the base is 50, so we'll put it to 50, and then you'll see, which probably explains why you'll mark a bunch of people die, and then you're wondering why your team's not killing anybody. It's because this is what their fucking minimap looks like. I can see around this, but that's it. Kinda, I can see the top catwalk over in this corner, and then that's it. So if there was somebody marked right there, and I'm fucking standing here like a rat trying to snipe people on B, I will not know there's somebody marked right there. So I suggest you, if you don't want to, if you want the minimap small, that's fine. I would still zoom the minimap out so you can see more of what's around you. I think the rest of these I really haven't touched. World icons. I turn the name off. I don't care about the names. They just get in the way, especially on this map. When you're coming up, when you're up here trying to take out the rat camping snipers and you're pushing down this way, you get the fucking D flag name right across your fucking screen. And if there's, and they usually like to fucking camp right there, and you're not gonna see them. So I turn the name off. I put the objective icon opacity down to about 30%. I mean, just so it's kind of there. I know where they are, so I could just turn them off. I know where the flags are. Like, obviously, if you're just starting, like in the next battlefield, 2042, I would recommend having them on so you can see where the fucking objectives are and what you have to see. And once you know where they are, you can just turn it down or turn it off. Again, name off. Friendly soldier, I turn it down a little bit. I really don't need to have them pop out. They're friendly soldiers. I already know they are. You want the enemy soldier at 100%. Soldier name, just so you can know who it is. So if you can match that with this guy just killed 3 of your teammates, you kill him and you know who the name is, you find him, you kill him. So now you know you don't have to fucking worry about, oh, that's a different guy. Or in that case, this guy's over there in a corner and you kill somebody and his name isn't the same as the one who killed the 3 people, so you still know there's somebody around there. He's around there, or you know you'd seen that somebody else killed him. That type of thing. Again, that's why you want it on all, not near, because near, like I really don't think the radius is too big. I I I would be willing to bet if people were dying inside that room over there, they wouldn't show up for me, and that's way too close. ADS, I turn everything down. I want it off. I don't want to see anything. If I'm ADSing, I'm either engaging someone or I'm looking for someone. You don't want that in your way. Friendly soldier, I just keep it at 70. You want the enemy at 100. Soldier name, say I turn that down. Gadget icon. Advanced camera shake, I guess it's a feature to be immersive, but it's an FPS game. I'm not trying to be immersive. I'm trying to not die. So turn down as low as you can, which is 30%. I don't do auto leaner, auto peek, parachute auto deploy. Turn that off because if you jump out of a plane to try to get a nice spawn or a flank if your team's getting shit on, now you're fucking up in the air and your parachute auto deployed and you're just going to take forever to come down. There's going to be people, they could see you, shoot at you. They're going to know you're there. I context, what is this? Oh yeah. If you're the squad lead, it's easier to just tap the flag than to constantly, well, it won't show up, but you can use the comma rows or you can tap the flags. I'll use, depending, if I'm heading away from an objective, but I want to mark it for my team or whatever, I'll mark it with the comma rows, otherwise I'll look at it. Auto rotation, turn this off. Don't be a rat with a sniper rifle. Oh, I should say without the scope, because it works on the sniper rifles without scopes. You just snap onto somebody, shoot them, and fucking kill them. It's so annoying. Don't be that rat. And for those that don't know, auto rotation. So let's say that you're aiming right here. Let's say this is a guy. It's just gonna snap over like that. Without, just by you aiming here, it's just gonna snap over. Don't be a fucking rat. Learn how to aim and shoot. Because you'll feel it. You'll come around a corner and a level 10 just fucking snaps onto you, and they would have otherwise, let's say that's me, right? They would have came out here and they would have just like probably overshot and fucking, but no, they come out and they just panic L1 or L2 and it fucking just boop snaps over. That's why you see those rats that fucking kill you up close. At long range, they can't hit shit because it doesn't really work for them at long range unless it's a sniper rifle. And that, in which case we already went over that. Don't be a fucking rat. Just turn that shit off and get better at the game. Modern Warfare, like back in the day, Modern Warfare 2, you can only use that. It would snap to the head of enemies, but you can only use that on recruit. You couldn't even use it on hardened or veteran difficulty in the campaign. It would only work in campaign on recruit, and it even explicitly said that it wasn't in The multiplayer. Now, I'm not sure about the latest Call of Duty, whether they put that back in and all that shit, but I know back then you weren't getting that shit in multiplayer, but DICE fucking wants to put it in. Some people say, "Oh, well, if they're gonna use it, I'm gonna use
A
it."
flame trooper
Stop.
kit is available near your location.
Terrible excuse. Don't be a rat. Fucking learn how to do it yourself. What are you gonna do? They take it out of the game and you're used to that shit. Then you're gonna have to start all over. So don't go thinking you're fucking good with an SMG08 or a fucking Automatico and you come fucking around a corner and then you snap on somebody and kill them with it and you think you're fucking good because you're not. You're fucking trash. Slow down, you want that on because you're on a controller. Basically, when you're getting close to somebody, it slows down and then it goes off like that. That's just to help you out because, again, analog sticks were made for platform games back in the late 80s and the early 90s, like Atari and all that shit. That's what analog sticks
A
were
sentry
for.
kit is available near your location.
They weren't for, they're not for FPS shooters. So there's something in there to help aim. That's different, though. You're not going to snap on people with auto rotation. Oh, no, sorry. With slowdown. With auto rotation, you're going to snap on people like a fucking rat. So stop it. Aim lead indicator, I have it on, but I think it's on by default. I just have it on. But if you're getting an aim lead indicator, it probably means you're in a fucking server where your ping is 175 or over 200, in which case, what the hell are you doing in there? But anyway. That's it. Audio, I turn the music off. I've had enough of it. You also don't want it on when it's getting towards the end of a round and it starts to come up at the perfect time where you're trying to flank or kill some enemies where you can actually win, and then you can't hear footsteps, so you want that off. Stereo, surround sound, in my opinion, is a gimmick. It's just one driver for each ear cup. You don't have multiple drivers angled in there and all that shit, so you get surround sound, and even then, I mean, and it would be so compressed in there. It's not like sitting in front of a surround sound system in a room where you got this on either side behind you, in the front, to the left, to the right. In my opinion, I can hear footsteps and pinpoint them better over stereo than I can on the simulated surround, like from the Astro mix amp and all that crap. Um, these are all personal preference. Voip, I would turn it off. That's when you just randomly hear someone talking and you're like, oh, I gotta mute this guy. It's just Voip. Just turn it off and you'll never hear him again. And besides, most of the people that play this game are dumb and they have nothing good to say anyway, so you might as well turn it off. Last video, brightness. My monitor's works fine on 50. I don't have to turn it up or turn it down. Field of view, this is another one where I would recommend you don't go any lower than 70 and you don't go any higher than 84. The higher you go, the less you're going to be able to see. So it's going to zoom, your depth perception is going to be all fucked up. It's really hard to see if there's somebody around here because they're going to be so tiny. And the whole, like, people say they like it because it's like, oh, everything's moving fast. And like, that's just because you're stretching the image out. It's not, you're not, it's the same speed from here to here as it is on the base 55 FOV, which we'll get to in a second here. It takes the same amount of time. It's not any different. There's people that can play really well on 55. I actually only know one of them. And there's people that can play well on the max, and that's very few. This is, in my opinion, it's just too zoomed in. Sure, you can definitely see where people are, but you're just missing out on little bits that are around you, which is why I recommend 74, which is 90 horizontal, which pretty much every other game, it's going to go by the horizontal. Battlefield's fucking weird, but between 90 and 100, so 100 would be 84. I wouldn't go any higher, but it's personal preference. I'm just recommending a range. This is like a good 74, so this is a good, I can still see there's people up there, but I can see over here, I can see over here, I can get all this information. I'm not hindered by that. ADS field view, it basically just matches your zoom level with your field of view. So if you have it off, whatever you have on, it's going to default to 55 FOV. So this is 55 FOV. That's all it's going to do. It's going to zoom to 55. The problem, again, this is personal preference, right? But for me, if I got people here or here, if I zoom in, now I can't fucking see where they're going. I'm over here, 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 and it's just constantly zooming in and out. And it's not like, it doesn't make you dizzy, but it's kind of like that, like, sensation of just Jesus Christ. It's too much. I really don't. I don't like it, but some other people might like it. Again, I chalk that up to personal preference. I just have it off. I don't like any zoom on my guns. And also, I don't like to have it, because I mean, if you don't have zoom on your gun and you got it on max, you know, you're not seeing shit. And then if you have this off, you're going from max FOV to fucking 50. Like, look at that shit. Look how annoying that is. Look at that. That's retarded. Don't do that. Depth of, oh, for motion blur, turn it off. You don't want to be looking left and right and have it blur somebody out camping right there with a shotgun like a fucking rat when you're going to look up over here. So turn that off. Depth of field, it's personal preference. It just keeps, for me, it keeps everything consistent. There's nothing blurred on my screen. See my gun? All this is going to do is blur your gun right here. Personal preference. It's not really going to, I don't think it's getting in the way, but I just like everything consistent, so I have it off. Colorblind, I know people play with them. They like to set, you can customize it, pick these. I don't care. Turn all these off. It'll make the game look like shit. All right, well, I hope I explained what some of these things mean, which you see a lot of other videos where they tell you about it, but they don't actually kind of demonstrate them, or at least some of them. So I hope demonstrating them kind of helped you guys understand what some of this stuff does. And you know, leave a comment if there's something that I missed, because maybe there is, and I can address it there. All right, thanks. Have a good one.